Happy Friday, everyone. I hope you're all doing well and welcome to today's live. I'm the Urban Seer, your guide to love, destiny, and manifesting the life you desire. I hope today's session brings you some peace, clarity, and answers to the questions that you bring today and the messages that are channeled from Spirit. So please center your energy and open your heart and mind to what Spirit has to bring through to us today. So as usual, just a reminder to everyone and to anyone new here how I read. So I'm an intuitive reader, energy reader. Please provide as much context, detail to allow me to connect to your energy and anyone in your situation. I don't do yes, no questions. I don't do timeline and I don't do general. So just bear that in mind. And with regards to your reading, just wait for your name to be called and just hold your question until then and just have your question ready for when you're called. Check out the chat for all the guidelines. They're all posted just in the Nightbot messages, and I post and update the list regularly. So just to know where you are, just check the list, like I said, that are posted in the chat. Hey to everyone in the chat. Hey Judite, lovely to see you here. Hey Namira, hey Danny Baby, Diamond Girl, Sruthi, Nina, hey Nina, just hold your question until you called. Andrea, Arisha, Sinise, Tia, Ivo, lovely to see everyone. Right, I'm going to post the first half of the list. Tia being my love, you were first, so let's get into it. And the tarot deck that I'm using today is the Gypsy Fair tarot deck. First half of the list, second half of the list. And if you weren't able to make the list today, I go live Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I always post the schedule in the community tab, so just look for updates then, and the list is always open the day before the live, so if you do want to secure your spot early, that's the best way to go about it. But let's get into it. Thank you, Tia. Tia Bia says, Pisces never responded to the trip invite. Oh, last night he texted saying he was sick and had been under the weather. I hadn't replied. Energy check-in on him. Let's have a look, Tia. Not what we were expecting after that last reading, I have to say. It's been avoidant, sounds like. Yeah. So Hanged Man we've got now, which is the very kind of stuck energy. And it's an uncomfortable position, yeah? If we see the Hanged Man and they're upside down, yeah? And that's literally kind of uncomfortable. And what's needed with the Hanged Man is really a kind of change of perspective. Let's find out what's making them feel so stuck, yeah? The Fool. Two major arcanas. So still powerful energies, potent energies, yeah? But the Fool is about taking a risk. The Fool as well, it can be about, you know, going on an adventure, which is a bit like that trip of what it was, yeah? And spending that kind of going away, getting away from it all and being together in a different environment. It's almost kind of representative of going on this adventure together, yeah? So I think they are scared to, which we've seen in the past, you know, they're scared to be vulnerable. They're really quite controlling and self-protective. And this really is what's keeping them stuck. And I think this is why they were unresponsive to that text to you. It's almost symbolic of where they're at with this relationship, this backwards and forwards, yeah? That they're in this hanged man energy at the minute. And it isn't about doing anything different. It's about a shift in their mindset, a shift in their perspective about why they're scared of getting hurt or whatever is holding them back, their issues that are holding them back. And the Fool really comes to say, you know, we've just really kind of got to go for it, have a leap of faith. And it's almost more painful just to have this backwards, forwards, 2 steps forwards, 2 steps back. And that's because he's been like this, Tia. This is he's holding you here as well. And he is holding this relationship back. So just know that, understand that about them and where that leaves you, you know, in your decision making. Like, I imagine it was quite disappointing for them to be unresponsive. Even if they'd said, you know, I'm not sure if they just didn't send any communication until later. But it feels almost symbolic, though, of a bigger issue between you. That his issues are holding him back, they're holding this relationship back. And he really needs to embody this Fool energy and just really go on an adventure and take a risk, have a change of perspective. So I'll leave that there. I hope that resonated. As we know, that can always change. You know, we could have that shift of perspective. But we don't know how long that will take or if it will happen. So where does that leave you, yeah? You're welcome, Tia. So Diamond Girl, you're next, my love. We have Diamond Girl, and then after Diamond Girl, we have Country, if you want to be ready with your question. Just in my camera. Seems a bit far away. Thank you, Diamond Girl. Diamond Girl says, how will I know if my true love person is already in my life or when I meet them? Did we look at this before, Diamond Girl? Was this you or was this someone else? Because how I normally go about answering this question, how will I know if my true love person is already in my life, is that I can ask a question. I mean, one thing, you might have more than one true love. That can be true. Say if we look at your next true love, I can pull a card on, I'll ask for an energy signature. Sometimes Spirit doesn't want to share that for whatever reason. They're not ready to. It's not right to do that. But if you recognize that person's energy, then that says, you know, this is a true love that's already in your energy field. If you don't, then that's someone new that will be coming through. So let's have a look. Spirit, can you tell me the energy signature of Diamond Girl's next big love, next true love? There we go. Okay, so it's answered it in a different way to me. Well, I'm going to ask one clarifying card. But really, I see, because what's come through, Diamond Girl, is Ace of Cups. And the Ace is a new beginning. So for me, with how we frame the question, is that it's a new person. The Ace is the beginning of an entirely new cycle. And here is the Cup. So cups represent, I mean, it's a beautiful card and it's very encouraging energy, and it's saying that, you know, new love is on its way to you. It will come to you. We have doves here, which are often symbols of, you know, love, that are at weddings, you know, they represent love as well. And the cups, you know, this emotion, this overflowing emotion here. Cup runneth over, you know, your cup being filled. I'll ask to see if they can tell me anything about their character, their personality, but to me, when that came through, it's a new love, it's a new person. Ooh, but we do have a death card here, which tells me that really that some kind of ending does need to happen first. So is there someone who you still are holding out for, maybe have hope that there's going to be a reconciliation? Because I think there needs to be some healing around that first, and maybe a deeper acceptance of that situation is over, because the death card is about endings. Yeah, this is a beautiful card. And as much as this is the death card talks about endings, it also talks doubles as the message of rebirth. And this is your rebirth, yeah? The rebirth comes, and then we can invite and be open to new love. So there is something that needs to be closed off, worked through. It needs to be transformed. And if you're really hung up on this person, then I would say probably that, you know, if you need to reconnect with them and go through sometimes another cycle of being together and making sure that there is nothing left there. And if there is, then this can transform as well, because this death card is a card of transformation. So what it's saying really is, this death card is that whatever was happened in the past, we can't go back to. So we can't just pick up where we have left off. If you want to try, because, you know, there's free will. This is just the cards coming through. This is not a magic 8-ball. This is, you know, just guidance. And then it's your free will and choice, yeah? So if you want to revisit it with this person, or if you're still involved with them, then know, the Spirit says, know that this relationship and this dynamic has to transform completely. It has to have a rebirth. And if that's where your heart is, and if that's where your passion is, then either go for it, or if there's no contact, no communication, then try to work on the ending and the healing and the releasing of that, if you really feel it's over, if that makes sense. Me and the person have been trying to get things started, okay, but we seem to bump heads and it doesn't get off the ground, okay. Yeah, so in this connection, try to look at it, what needs to transform in order to make this work. Something needs to be different. Something needs to change. Or listen to your intuition, see what it's saying, and free will, what you want to do. Do you need to free yourself from this? Is this now wasting your time? Have you given it enough of a go and tried everything, and it's still failure to launch, yeah? And if you do that, then there is something. Either way, this Ace of Cups is waiting for you, Diamond, yeah? He's where my heart is and keep being drawn back to him. Okay, so if we're not ready to let go of him yet, then your energy needs to be focused on transforming this relationship. And I would say go all in on this. And it'll either shift the energy and you will manage to transform it, or you will move through it and be able to release this person ultimately, yeah? But I feel like just go all in. So we're not just going round in circles, yeah? Keep us posted. Okay, country, my love, if you are here, please go ahead and post. Here's the next three. Country, Shreya, Danny, you're welcome, Diamond Girl. I'm not sure if I've seen country here, actually. Hey, Danny baby, go ahead and post, my love, because I'm not sure if I've seen country or Shreya. Oh, there's Shreya. Thanks, Shreya. Danny baby, go ahead and post as well. So Shreya asks, what's Anyapam's energy towards me and what's actually blocking him from talking to me? As I mentioned last time, I sent my supper picture last Sunday and there's no conversation since then. So let's have a look. What's the block? Oh, interesting. So they're having a tower moment, Shreya. And what a tower moment is there is some kind of big disruption, Shreya, happening. Obviously, because you're not in communication, that maybe there's no way of you knowing unless you've got mutual sources that are maybe sharing information with you. But the tower moment is a great moment of, upheaval. And when something that we were very invested in and we thought was just going along as per normal and was some kind of security and safety, it can be a job, it can be a relationship, it can be a real cornerstone in our life, yeah. And that thing really is generally when we see a tower moment, it's like getting the rug ripped out from under us. Something, it can talk about job loss, breakdown of a relationship, losing a family member. It can be many things, but it's something very disruptive, something often quite shocking, and that we didn't see coming. The kind of silver lining of the tower energy is that it's really another way of looking at it is a kind of spiritual intervention, and whatever road that you were on was not actually meant for you, and it's really spirit kind of coming in, picking you up and placing you in an entirely different place and saying that is not meant for you, that is not your spiritual path. And I can see that you're not going to be able to remove yourself from it, so I'm going to remove you from it, yeah? So there's a lot of distractions going on at the moment, Shreya. Like I say, something very disruptive that's going on behind the scenes in their life. That's what the Tower card says to me. So you ask the question, what is the block? That is the block. So if anything's going to change with this, if communication's going to come through, or they have to be in a place where they are ready and open to this. And at the minute, that's just not happening. The dust needs to settle. They need to regroup, regather themselves, refocus, get themselves together to even maybe consider looking at connections, etc. So I hope that resonated. One moment. Just getting a bit more light. Okay, thank you, Danny, for posting. Okay, Danny Baby says, I have a lot to say, lol. Awesome. Shaquille and I had a nice night 2 nights ago. He's a diver. Oh, how cool. We live close to the beach. We usually go to the beach to chill, but 2 nights ago it was low tide, so we were able to walk across the sea floor. It was so beautiful. I love anything to do with nature, me too. We had a nice intimate session after that, a nice chat. Awesome. I had work the next day, so I had to go since it was getting late. That sounds like a beautiful evening. He drove slow to spend more time with me. He asked what will happen if I meet someone I like and want to be with them. I asked him the same question. He said he would feel sad, but unable to do anything about it. Okay, if you met someone else, he would feel sad. I get it. He said he likes what we have. I do too, though my emotions get the best of me at times. I'd like an energy check-in between us, please. So just one question, Shreya, for each session. So I'm just going to move on to Danny now. In a way, there's in answer to your question, Shreya, there's just the focus is on that tower moment. So the mind, the emotional, mental, spiritual, his focus is on that tower moment. Okay, Danny. I mean, this all sounds good, Danny. Let's see what the cards say. So what's an energy check-in between us? Ooh, Justice. Major Arcana. Strong energy, potent energy, what we know is happening between you. Yeah, there's a real intensity to this connection. I feel like, we're both trying to manage our emotions on either side of this, yeah? But justice is also about fairness and balance. And I'm going to pull one more card, but I feel like it almost feels like just a moment of grace and a moment of justice is what's happening, is that you've found each other. And maybe after false starts in other relationships that haven't worked, this is something that's come through to, kind of balance the scales. Tell me more, Spirit. Yeah, it is that, because here is this Ten of Swords, which is painful time. The Ten of Swords is, I would say, betrayals of the past. Being let down, being disappointed, being heartbroken. That's what the Ten of Swords represents. It's like this, really, when we've had a lot of self-belief in a relationship, and put our all into it. And it doesn't even have to be love relationships, you know, it can be, I know you've had difficult relationships with your family, you know. Intense disappointment and betrayal, really being let down in a big way, and how that stays with us, yeah. And it kind of gets, sometimes it gets harder to take a risk, yeah, which is understandable because we've been let down a lot. So it's hard to take a risk again, to enter into a new love connection and to open up. But the Ten of Swords really marks the end of that painful era, of that disappointment era. We had a conversation about that. Yeah, so I'm saying that this is, you know, very much your situation with this Ten of Swords. And maybe his, yeah. So I don't know about his past, but he may have had that heartbreak, heartache, disappointment as well. And so here we are, we have this Justice card, which is as simple as it says it is. Sometimes the major arcanas, you know, just have a very pure, simple message. And justice is about, you know, exactly what it says on the tin, a moment of justice. We've got all this lovely bright pink here, which is indicative of, you know, love, but the fact that it's so bright as well, and that it has a lightness to it and a purity to it. We have the scales here that are balanced. The woman here, she is blindfolded, so it's like, again, about the only way to really navigate this, Danny, is to also to go within and to really tap into your intuition and listen to that voice. That, so when you're scared of getting hurt or scared of where this is going, you know, it's your intuition that will guide you on that. Yeah, so if you start feeling things feel off, or things feel unsafe, or things don't feel quite right, then that's your sign. So you kind of have to have belief in yourself that you will read the situation right. And yeah, it will be disappointing and it will be hurtful if that comes up. But you'll navigate your way out of it like you always have in the past. But now I feel like what we need to actually focus on more is being able to work on enjoying the situation and being able to work on the connection and actually begin to trust it as well. So equally, don't like damage this connection with self-doubt, you know, by expecting what's happened in the past to happen again. So I do feel like we need to surrender to this, Danny. A lot of the readings recently for you have been about surrendering to that this is a good thing and that this has become something more than what you expected and maybe taken you by surprise. But we need to kind of give into it and believe it. So Danny says, yes, a risk is hard, but I'm glad we're taking it slowly. Yeah, really getting to know each other. That as well is the way to protect ourselves. Yeah, he's scared of love, said it was very scary. It is scary, that's true. Having a hard time trusting it, but I'm not showing it. As you say, I go within. Okay, so as long as you're dealing with that, you know, having a hard time trusting it, that's isn't it? It's okay to feel that, but as long as we're not acting that out, then that's okay. If you, it sounds like you've got a handle on that. So just work on, like you say, you're doing everything right. You're taking it slowly, bit by bit. Just allow yourself to give into it. But take as long as you need, yeah? This is like the fun part as well, when, you know, like try and make this bit last as long as possible as well. At the beginning, It's like, look at all this pink though, even in this Ten of Swords, it's like there's so much pink here that I see. Which is like passion. You know, there's a lot of passion here, and big feelings. So, you know, it is scary. But I feel like you're doing everything right. You're doing everything that you can. So try to give yourself that reward, Danny, as well. So say, you know, you're doing well. Oh, you're more than welcome, Danny. Doesn't require patience. I totally get needing that reassurance, and there's no judgment here of asking about, you know, I understand asking about the same person, having to do a check-in, you know, I absolutely get it. So next up we have Namira, Veni, Sinise. If you want to go ahead, post your questions or be ready. Hey Namira. Tell me more about Alexander, Namira. And I can do an energy check-in on them if you like. And Veni, if you're here, my dear, I'm not sure if they are, if I've seen Veni, but please go ahead and post. Oh, you've been together for 2 years. What would you like me to ask? What would you like me to look at in the mirror with Alexander? I think some of your question is missing because it says, I feel his energy still in. Sure thing. So, right, okay. So you're still together. Just so I've understand this right. You've been together for 2 years. Or it did end because there's something going on with addiction with his son. Are you still together? Just tell me that. I'm not sure if that, because I'm not sure if you were together for 2 years. Let's have a look at. So you're not still together, or you are still together? Just make that clear in a mirror. There's a delay in the chat, so sometimes I don't know what people are answering to, so just bear that in mind. Not anymore, okay. Let's have a look. Oh, interesting. Page of Swords. So this is about communication. And the page is when, so this is their energy, yeah. That they do have something to say to you. I feel like maybe there was a lot of unfinished business, yeah. Like you said, the reasons why it ends, that sounds, you know, pretty devastating in a way, really, to that they still loved you, but it was circumstantial, you know. And Swords is about communication, is about truth. And the page is when we're kind of thinking about it and we're preparing to say something. We're not, the Knight of Swords is when we're actually saying it, when we're taking action and we're speaking our truth, and say that would manifest, you know, and actually reaching out to you, communicating to you. The Page of Swords is when we've got something to say, we've got a truth to that they'd like to speak to you about how they feel, about how they think. Maybe they'd like to, you know, discuss more what actually went on. Or they've got more so that they've got something on there that they'd like to get off their chest, yeah? I'm going to pull one more. But maybe something's, you know, something's been holding them back because we're at the Page of Swords stage. So it's like they're not able to maybe find the courage, to actually to put that out there to you. Tell me more, Spirit. Ooh, look how nostalgic they feel in the mirror. So they feel, so this is telling us kind of where they're at in action. I don't know what's holding them back. It could just be fear of rejection. It could just be the lack of courage at this point in time to kind of really go for it and take that risk. They might feel that too much time has passed, or, you know, something like that is what's holding them back. But how they feel, you know, in their heart of hearts is they miss you, yeah? Six of Cups is really a nostalgic. It can often be, you know, a longing, especially when it comes up in a love reading. It's about, you know, when they think of you, they think of you fondly. They go back to times of that you when you were together and think fondly of that. Look at all these beautiful flowers that are here. So yeah, they miss you, they are nostalgic about you, and there is a longing here for you as well. And the Six of Cups is about kind of wanting to go back to the past. So maybe can also talk about really having some regrets and wanting to, which is maybe part of actually that ties into what they would want to say to you. I think they have regrets about how it all went down, and that if they were given a second chance, you know, if they could do it all again, they would do things differently. So tricky, yeah, because I mean, I don't know, you know the ins and outs of the details of like communication and stuff like that. And I don't know how you would even feel about it. I suppose it would be dependent on what they had to actually say, you know, when they came through with, if they can find that courage to say what they've got to say, really, because Swords is about having those honest but sometimes difficult conversations, yeah, really putting it out on the table. But know that they do miss you. They wish they have regret, and they have nostalgia and longing. I hope that resonated. He ended the conversation painfully. Just cut you off with that sword. So it really has to come from him to rebuild, and he has to come forward with that Knight of Swords, you know, to develop, to go from the Page of Swords to the Knight of Swords, to communicate and have that courage. And if he, which we've seen that he still cares and he still misses you and still longs for things to be different. But he kind of needs to be brave about changing that, you know. I'm glad that resonated, Namira. Exactly, it has to come from him. Okay, so I don't think Benny's here. Sinise, I think I've seen you. Sinise, if you want to post, and Judite. I'll do the full list actually. So that's who, Sinise and Judite. And then here is the rest of the list, just so everyone knows where they're at. We have Andrea, Arisha, Nina, Kritika, Bhavya, and Sasha. Hey Judite, go ahead and post, my love, and thank you, Sinise. You're welcome, Namira, as always. Hey Andrea, thanks for letting me know. Sinise asks, hi dear, can I ask if Blaren is interested in me romantically? This is a new person. Absolutely. I like that emoji that you've just put, Sinise, as well. That looks like a mandala. Okay, let's have a look at Blaren's energy towards you. Tell me more about Luke, Judite, for when it's your turn. Tell me more. Remember, detail, context. This allows me to give you a meaningful reading. Okay, Sinise, my love, this is for you. Blaren's energy. Ooh, interesting. There are romantic feelings around this connection for sure, because we've got cups that have shown up and we've got 4 of cups. Now with the 4 of cups though, there's something going on with them maybe in the area of love that's from the past, like a little bit of baggage from the past, because the 4 of cups is, or it could even be with you, so tell me what resonates here, but the 4 of cups is when someone kind of feels rejected in a way, and it can be that they are focusing on the disappointments of love, so they may be in like an emotionally kind of wary place if they've recently come from a connection that's broke down, or like I say, even in this fresh new dynamic, they may feel in your actions, tell you what resonates, leave what doesn't here, that maybe you're not interested in them for some reason. But this 4 of Cups is about, like I say, it always flags up a sense of rejection. And what this person needs to realize is that this is basically, there is a 4th cup being presented to them. This is still has potential, this connection. This connection is a kind of different way of doing things than what maybe they've done in the past. I'm going to ask one more. Tell me if they've shared anything about their past love connections to you, or if it feels like maybe that they're reading you wrong, you know, if you are interested in them, but they're feeling like maybe you're not. Thanks for letting me know, Sasha. So Sinise, let me know how that connects to your situation, if they've shared, like say, about their past, And that's where this rejection's coming from. Or if they're reading you wrong, then that could be an adjustment that you need to make, maybe about making it clear about how you feel. Yeah, Queen of Swords. So with this person, either way, okay, there is romantic feelings here between you. You're going to have to bring this Queen of Swords energy, which is about being very upfront, and it's about the Queen of Swords doesn't hold back. Swords, much like we were speaking before in a previous reading with Namira, swords are about truth. Swords are about been upfront about your thoughts and your feelings, and not being not shying away from it, not hoping that someone will understand what you are thinking or feeling. We just have to say it, and we have to get it out there and almost be quite blunt. Yeah, the Queen of Swords doesn't hold back. So Sanice, let me know if you're getting this. I don't know if you're still here. I'll leave that there. Okay, moving on. Thank you, Judite. So Judite says the energy from Luke towards me, Luke's energy towards me, he's my manager. So is this, last time you took a card for me, there was love energy. Okay. Has anything developed since then? Has anything changed? Are you interested in them? Let's have a look. Ooh, Justice. We got to know each other better. Major Arcana. Justice is all about fairness, balance, integrity. Okay, no problem, Denise. So I'm wondering if there's an issue that's come up here. Well, I don't know if it's an issue, but justice is, Judite, justice is very much about integrity, okay, and kind of doing the right thing. So I do wonder if there is, you know, there's love energy that we've picked up on in the past. If things aren't developing into a relationship, or even it can be that their integrity as a manager, okay, he's married. So there we go. So that's his integrity right there, is that he's married and you have a partner. So this can't go any further, maybe because of that, yeah? And they know that. And this is what's on their mind and in their thoughts. And really, this is a good thing, okay? That someone feels like this, that someone thinks like this, that despite their kind of emotions and feelings for you, what's kind of at the forefront is their integrity. Because we have the Three of Cups, which is interesting. It's like there is this potential here again for this kind of being romantic. Three of Cups can be like a third party situation, which is quite interesting. So maybe that you both feel like this as well. This is what I'm picking up from them again. This is like, you know, if they were just going with their emotions, then this would become a third party situation. But in a way, thank God, you know, that we've got this justice card in a way that they do have this, because it may be fun for a while, but you know, where is that going in the future? It's going to get messy. You know, it could completely blow up both your lives. Which I understand, you know, if you're in an unhappy relationship, they're in an unhappy marriage, then, you know, things change, things fall apart. I understand that. So it's tricky, yeah, Judah. It is tricky to be in this situation. You'll both have feelings for each other. You're both attracted to each other. If you were just going purely on your emotions and throwing caution to the wind, it would become a third party. Now, what would that be? A four party situation for you. Yeah. So I suppose this is confirming, I think, what you already know, what you already feel. But you know, the question is, are we gonna like blow up our whole lives for this? So sticking around for, I suppose, for as long as you're in this situation, yes, for as long as you're working together, it's always going to be there. So I don't know how intense it is. I don't know, is it about, do we need to look at other jobs to make our lives easier, to take temptation away, you know? But that's up to you. But anyway, justice, you know, reigns at the minute, that hold on to your integrity and they're holding on to theirs, okay? Hope that resonated. Okay, so we have Andrea, my love. We have, I'm not sure if Arisha is here. What time is it? Why don't we, if you're here, oh, Critique is here, Sasha's here, awesome. So please go ahead and post. So, Juliet says, yeah, just gotten the job 6 months ago. So you do need more to, yeah, I understand that's early days, yeah. Keep us posted, Judite. Tricky situation. If you're here and waiting, and you're on the list waiting for a reading, please go ahead and post, and I'll just read in as we go, okay? So we've got Andrea. I'm not sure if Arisha's here, but if you are, post. Andrea, Arisha, Nina, Kritika, Bhavya, and Sasha. Thanks for posting, Andrea. Yeah, very tricky. Okay, Andrea says, I'm in the dark when it comes to our relationship with Carlos the Leo. What's his current energy? It comes to our relationship. I'm an Aries. Haven't been in contact since before Thanksgiving. I remember last time, Andrea, you saying, yeah, that this is an ex, yeah? And we've gone into no contact. No problem, Arisha. I'll read for you after Andrea. Let's have a look at your Leo, Andrea. What is going on? Andrea feels in the dark, spirit. Please shed some light. What is his current energy when it comes to the relationship with Andrea? Ooh. 7 of Cups. They're in a place of indecision, Andrea, okay? So the reason why you're in the dark and you're feeling confused is because they're confused, yeah? The 7 of Cups is about options and choices. And in a way, it can be a little bit of a delusional energy. Cups is about really, I always see this energy as kind of having they have their kind of head in the clouds, and they aren't being honest with themselves. So they're not able to be honest with you either. They may have, he hasn't said anything to you about breaking up, okay. But we are in no contact, yeah? So there's issues, yeah? And I feel like obviously you need to get some clarity. You need to get some communication coming through, Andrea, of where you stand, of where this relationship is going. And he doesn't know yet. Seven of Cups as well can be about literal options, in that there could be other people in his energy field who, like, other connections that he might be considering. I'm just putting that out there, okay? Or it can just represent different choices about what they're going to do with their life and where they're going to go to next. Work related, living situation, their path. You know, it's like there's a lot of contemplation going on, but it's not really grounded in reality. And I feel like they're in a kind of away with the fairies energy, and they need to be a little bit more realistic. There may be, you know, a dreamer by nature as well. It's that kind of energy of almost like hoping that everything's just going to magically work out, instead of like actually putting in the work or putting in the effort or having those difficult conversations. They could be procrastinating, which is why that you haven't heard from them. You will hear from them again with this Page of Pentacles, but Page of Pentacles is slow moving energy, okay? So it will maybe require some patience on your side. Now what's good about this is Pentacles, which is earth energy, so it is grounded and it's more realistic. So it will suggest that he will kind of come to his senses, and he will kind of grapple with the situation, and this will manifest in communication, them coming towards you more. So it will happen, but it might take longer than what you would hope, yeah? And also I would question, you know, if this person is supposed to be your partner, Andrea. You see, you say he's supposed to be your boyfriend, but if you haven't had contact from before Thanksgiving, you know, that's not really kind of acceptable in my eyes, you know, in a way of like a partner, yeah? Take what resonates, see what doesn't with that, Andrea. Okay, thank you, Arisha. So Arisha says, Solomon's true intentions for me. Does he want to marry me or marry someone else? So I don't do yes no questions, Arisha, like that, if he wants to marry me or marry someone else, but I can do an energy reading on how he feels towards you, okay? You've been in a relationship with him for 4 years, so let's have a look about how he sees you, how he thinks and feels about you. This will give us insight, yeah, into if he's serious, if he's where his heart and head lies, okay? You're welcome, Andrea. Okay, Arisha. Solomon's true intentions towards Arisha, please, Spirit. Again, things feel unclear, Arisha, okay? The moon card is about the unknown, okay? And they are kind of, this situation is keeping you in the dark, okay? And they're keeping you in the dark. And it can be that they don't know what they want, okay? Because this is you two both in this moon energy. And moon energy, okay, the moon will illuminate the path in the end, okay? And the moon is about that we have to go within and we have to listen to our intuition and what our intuition is telling us. And I will pull another card for this. But I suppose if it's been 4 years, okay, and we're at the moon energy of being in the unknown and it's not clear, then that is really difficult on you, Arisha, yeah? To not have a clear path forward at this point and to not know where you stand with this person in this relationship. And it brings up, because the moon, yeah, also talks about the situation, obviously really bringing up our insecurities, which, you know, which I imagine is very understandable. You know, if you've been with someone for 4 years and it still feels like you don't know where you stand with them and the path is unclear and they're not clear about what they want. I don't feel like that there's anyone else in the picture for them. I just feel like that maybe in life or as a person that they have fear and insecurities of their own, and they've got a confusion that is like maybe they are frightened to kind of just go for it with anyone and to marry and to make that level of commitment, because I really feel like it's like that they don't know what they want. It's not that they want someone else, it's just that he doesn't really know what he wants in general. And I feel like, you know, he needs to make a decision, Arisha. There's only so much waiting that someone can do. Tell me one more, please, Spirit. Yeah. So he's scared to take this risk, Arisha. We've got 2 major arcanas here, okay? So I don't think it's that he doesn't love you or doesn't have strong feelings for you, okay? He does care deeply about you. There will be love here. But they are scared of making that commitment of marriage. And I suppose that's really over to you, Arisha, about how long do you want to wait for someone. I don't see what I can say which is, say, reassuring for you. I don't see anyone else in the picture, yeah? The issue isn't someone else and that they've harboring feelings for them. The issue is that they're afraid to take the risk. They're afraid to take a leap of faith and to really kind of go for this. And where that leaves you is in this in the shadows of the moon. Okay. I'm going to leave that there. I hope that resonated. How much of a conversation, Arisha, have you had around this? You know, maybe it's time to broach those. You may already have had those difficult conversations, but you may have to say, look, if we don't move this forward, you know, if marriage is something that you really want, you need to make that clear to them. You know, marriage and commitment and moving this relationship forward is very important to me, and you need to make that clear and then see how they respond to that, you know, if you haven't already. Okay, so is Nina here? We have Nina, Kritika, Bhavya and Sasha. Please go ahead and post now. Thank you, Kritika. Awesome. If you're still here, if you're waiting, post now. Kritika says, what is the current energy surrounding my connection with Vaibhav? In contact, but we are talking like classmates, okay, and not two people who like each other. It is confusing. Am I right that you've had that conversation that you like each other and then that kind of stalled? And then have we gone back to, like you say, talking like classmates? Let's see what's going on. Hey Nina, post your question, please. Ace of Pentacles. Still potential here, okay, Kritika? Spirit, I feel like it's come through to say, don't give up, maybe. There is still potential here. It's slow moving because it's Pentacles, yeah, which I feel like is what you're very much feeling. You're welcome, Arisha. Thank you for posting. So this is really tricky, Kritika. You know, you've had that moment, and then we've kind of taken some steps back, and it's almost like we can't get past this Ace of Pentacles. But nonetheless, Spirit says there's potential here. So tell me more, Spirit. Tell me, why is Vaibhav not moving this forward? Four of Cups, this card of rejection. I wonder if they expect, do they expect you, Kritika, to, yeah, so like you've putting in the one-sided efforts. Yeah, exactly. If he wants to, he has to work for it. So you've got your head screwed on, Kritika. It's exactly the right attitude. But I do feel like that this has brought up this Four of Cups. Why it's not moving forward is that I do kind of feel like that they almost feel like, not almost, they do feel like they kind of expect that from you. That maybe you have to keep going towards them, and it's not fair, yeah, that you are the one that takes all the risk. Because the Four of Cups is that I feel like it can sometimes be a bit of a sulking energy, and that they feel rejected, even though, you know, this is very unfair and very unjust of them to actually have these feelings, but nonetheless they do. And I think maybe it's because you're not chasing them, you're not running around after them, and you know that's a red flag, isn't it? It's a red flag that they're in that kind of energy. Can you back off like even more, Kritika, to try and push this situation? He was the one who told me he isn't ready, okay, and let us wear it. He was the one who told me he isn't ready. and let us where it goes, but I'm not happy with the situation. Half in, half out. I would, at this point, critique it, is like withdraw contact even more. Like, you don't have to go no contact, but don't. He's talking like he doesn't know me at all after multiple times of explaining. I feel like you should just really back right off, critiquer. I feel like that they have some issues surrounding it, like having to, like I say, come from you. And there's some kind of expectation, and there's some kind of, there's a lot of game playing going on here. And he hasn't shown you anything of substantial here. And he is holding you in this Ace of Pentacles energy of where it's just in the world of potential. We're not able to move to, that the Two of Pentacles, the Three of Pentacles, this relationship should be progressing and should be growing. And he's holding you because of this kind of childish, I suppose, behavior, really. Game playing or wanting you to do all the work, take all the risk. So I would just back off completely and see what he does. See if that he's responsive to that. And if he's not, then I don't think this person is really worth your energy, because you're not going to be able to get off this starting line because they're not really willing to take the risk. That's okay, critiquer. I would be angry too. So there's a lot of emotions going on his side, a lot of mixed up emotions, maybe a lot of unfair emotions in expecting you to do all the work, etc. And somehow he's ended up coming off feeling rejected, even though he's the one who's kind of said he's not ready and backed off and done all this. His only way of connecting was Reels, which he shut down himself today because I didn't really react much. So, he's probably got a very sensitive ego, critiquer. I would withdraw your energy at this point, yeah? Keep us posted. Okay, so who's next? Nina, thank you for posting. I'll read for you. And then Baviart and Sasha, if you're here. Sasha, I see you're here. Post your questions, Sasha. Oh, but there we go. You both have. Awesome, awesome. I'll read for Nina. So Nina says about moving to a ranch home. Today's my birthday, and so one-to-one. So story. I don't understand that question, Nina. I'm confused. Post your question again, Nina. I didn't get that. Okay. Okay, so I read for Baviart, and then Nina, I'll just read for you after Sasha, if you can post your question again. So Bavia says, what are the energies surrounding commitment in my connection with Agam? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Agam. We've been talking for 4 to 5 months, but he still seems unsure about entering a relationship. Okay, let's have a look, Bavia. I don't understand your question, Nina. Sorry. Okay, Bavia, this is for you. I'm not sure if this is a question for tarot, Nina. I'm just going to, it's maybe not how I read the tarot because I'm an energy reader. What I can do, Nina, is, because I've just seen your original question here, which tells me a little bit more. So that's your question, yeah? I can look at the energy when it's your turn, so I'll look at the energy around a house move and finding what you want. Okay, if you just bear with me, I'm going to read for Bhavya, Sasha, and then I'll read for you. Okay, so Bhavya, sorry, back to you, my love. Let's have a look at the energies around your, particularly around commitment in your connection with Agam. Seven of Swords. There is some defensiveness here. Look how guarded they are. This is them. And they've got a wall of swords around them. Bhavya. Why are they so defensive? Why is this, wall of swords up? They've got their walls up. It's past pain. Past swords are about our wounds, yeah? So they are about heartache, about when we've been deeply hurt. Can go all the way back to childhood. It can be in relationships. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't there. About how much it's been 4 to 5 months, so I suppose we're still getting to know each other, yeah? So we can do some healing here. Things can change. I'll pull another card just to dig a little deeper. But, this is very validating in the sense of like that their barriers are up. And it's because of hurt and pain. But at the end of the day, like what comes up time and time again in these connections and in these relationships, it's when people are kind of in relationships and they try to kind of walk that line of being in a relationship with someone and not really taking any emotional risks. And it just ends up very messy, and it ends up confusing, and it ends up stagnating the energy terribly, yeah? Where it's kind of a bit like, if we're here, we like each other, we can't ultimately protect ourselves from heartbreak if you're in a relationship, yeah? Tell me more, Spirit. He had a very painful breakup in the past. So there is your answer, Bhavya, okay? That is what's driving this whole thing now about the issues that you were experiencing, about him. He still seems unsure about entering a relationship. It is because of that breakup, okay? So the question is, do you want to give it time? Do you want to give it your energy? How long do you want to wait? It's been 5 months, which is it's not really a very long time, but at the same time, it's not really short. We are getting to that point where it's like we have to start taking those risks, yeah? He has to start taking those risks sooner or later, or he's going to lose you, yeah? Eight of Pentacles, it's about work, effort. It's the beautiful card, this, actually. So I feel like this is hopeful, actually, in the sense of that maybe they are trying. So maybe you feel that they are putting the work and effort in. Or I suppose this is the question of why this has come forward. And this is where it's important, okay? Because we can't really change how we feel. If we've got our barriers up, we've been very hurt, we've been very wounded, we're with someone, we're scared of getting hurt, so it's difficult for us to commit. But are we working on it? Are we trying on it? And I think that's the question, Bhavya, to ask yourself. Do you see that they're making effort? So here, I think there's a delay in the chat here, but this is answer to this very question, which is a good question to ask yourself. Bhavya says, please give me advice. Should I wait or not? So do you see efforts from them to change, to work through these issues? Or do you see that they're slacking? Do you see that they're just staying here, you know, without really any intention or moving and changing? Because we can feel that, you know, and we can see that intuitively. Is effort manifesting? Are they putting in the work? And if they're not, I would say, you know, 4 to 5 months in, if they're not putting the work in to change and put effort, then it's better to walk away. If they are putting in the effort, if they're trying to work through their issues, that's all we can expect from someone, and it's okay to give them some grace, yeah, to do this. But if you don't see effort and intention, then walk away. If you do, then maybe it's okay to give it a bit some more time. But really, it's ultimately, you know, you don't owe them anything, Bhavya. This is up to you as well. You know, if it's not enough, you feel like your time, you've put in enough, you've given them enough grace, because you have given them quite a decent amount of time, really. And if you're not seeing enough change, then that's okay. That's free will for you to walk away. I'll leave it there. Okay. So we have Sasha now. Sasha says, how does Anad view me? He is my senior where I work. It has been a few months since we've known each other at work. Okay, so Sasha, is this just in a kind of professional capacity of how he sees you character, or is this romantic? Tell me, just because sometimes I know those boundaries can cross, and it's the more information I have, the better, the more meaningful reading I can give you and channel the messages from spirit and convey them, translate them to you. Bhavya says, one day he's putting his efforts and one day throws harsh lines on my face about our situation. Oof. I don't know, Bhavya. Yeah, I mean, that's up to you, but that doesn't sound great. If he's been really harsh with you. And it's so early on, Bhavya, you know. I mean, no one should be throwing harsh lines at anyone, you know, if it's a loving, supportive partner. Keep us posted, Bhavya, yeah? Okay, Sasha, so tell me more about this connection. You know, if it's just professional, why are we wanting to know what this person thinks of us, etc., etc. So you just want to know what they think of you professionally and how he views you, yeah, if you're doing a good job, etc. Ooh, is yours, that's tricky. Senior, but he's younger. Let's have a look how he views you. Major Arcana. So this feels nice, Sasha. I feel like that he understands that this is relatively new and that this is a new chapter for you, but it feels very expansive, and I feel like that he does see your potential and already sees that you have a lot to contribute, yeah? The World card is about transitions, okay? So it's about closing out the old and starting a new chapter. And that's happening for you both in many ways, in the sense that you're new to this role, he's new to being your senior. So we're working it out. We're in a kind of transition. But this is a major arcana, so this tells me, you know, and I feel like that you come across very well in this card, you know, capable, a visionary, expansive, able to make a success of whatever you're being presented with, yeah? So really nice energy. I don't know if you have... Sometimes you don't get along, but sometimes we're on good terms. So I think professionally, he doesn't question your ability, okay? And maybe he understands, like, maybe this, when you don't get along, it seems connected to the fact that, you know, this is new. Bear with me. Just letting the cats in. Let's have a look at this guidance around. Sometimes you don't get along, sometimes you do. We have Two of Wands here. I feel like you'll be able to work it out. Both these cards, Sasha, feel very hopeful. I feel like it's just teething problems, okay? It's about, you know, getting to know each other's quirks and how what works, what doesn't, you know, what flies, what doesn't. Two of Wands is about looking to the future, and they're wanting to work this out and wanting to work this through. So I believe probably you do, Sasha, as well. You know, you want to make this work. You want to make a success of it. So I wouldn't give too much weight to the disagreements. Try to just obviously navigate them as best you can and not be too reactive. Because I do feel, like I say, that they seem to have good intentions. And it's tricky, you know, getting a new manager or a senior, or then managing someone new. You know, it's a tricky dynamic, especially because of the age thing as well, that being another factor. Yeah, it can be hard. I've had that before, bosses who are younger than me in the past quite significantly, and it is kind of strange. It is tricky. It takes time to work this out. So give yourself some grace, both of yourself some grace period. But I think that this will be okay in the end. Two of Wands, Wands is fire, so there is a bit of, maybe that's that tension that you were talking about. Maybe you're both strong characters. But I feel like that you'll get to a good place if you can give it some time and don't be too, you know, reactive. And understand that with this World card, you know, this is a new chapter. So I hope that resonated. Okay, and last but not least, we have Nina. Just give me a shout, Nina, if you're still here. Hey, Alex, the list is closed today, I'm afraid. I go live Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, though. So I'll be live on Monday. If you can make it then, catch us then, that would be great. Just keep an eye on the community tab for schedule updates, for times, etc. to be confirmed. Nina, are you here? Let's have a look at this new home for Nina. What's the energy around it, please, Spirit? Still here, Nina. Thank you for your patience and for waiting. Ooh, so there will be a fair outcome, Nina, on this, okay? So have hope with this situation. I know you've had a lot of setbacks on what you've been searching for. You've had some difficulty, okay? But justice is exactly what it says on the tin. Like, you will be getting some justice. You will be getting a fair outcome. You need to trust your intuition on this process as well, about, you know, making the right move to the right place. I'm going to pull another card just for a bit more information, but this really is straight up comes through to say, so I don't do timelines here, but it does say that you will get a fair outcome and that there will be justice on this situation despite the struggles that you've experienced. Yeah, that's okay. Tell me more about what, Nina, any guidance on how to bring this through. Are you, Nina, do you practice manifestation? This is something useful to do if you aren't, or to dig into if you are interested in manifestation, of bringing through what you want. So is by creating daily practice through meditation, journaling, visualization, whatever really kind of floats your boat on that of what you're drawn to. But there's loads of resources on YouTube, you know, about guided meditations of, you know, bringing your ideal house, or, you know, flat, whatever it is that you need, bringing your ideal apartment through to you as quickly as possible. And it can help remove any blocks either within us or within the universe, you know, the co-creation process. So that's something, if we want to obviously bring this through as quickly as possible to you, that's somewhere to focus your energy, to open up the energetic lines, I always think, yeah, to bring this through to you. Imagine your ideal apartment, visualize it. What would that feel like? Imagine that it's already yours. So you journal already, awesome. So if you like daily, or just whenever you had the energy and the time, write down, you know, what would your ideal apartment look like? How would it make you feel? Where would it be? You know, describe the furniture, describe the rooms, you know, describe the good neighbors, the outdoor space if you need that, etc. for your dog. One more, please, Spirit, before we go. Yeah, another major arcana, Nina. So there's something very strong about from the universe, because it says, you know, this is your fair outcome. It is going to happen. But she's blindfolded here, which talks about we need to trust our intuition on this. So if something doesn't feel right about, you know, if you're looking at an apartment or whatever you're doing in the process, you know, to bring this apartment through to you practically, it's very important that we trust our intuition on this and trust our gut, because we've got the moon card come through as well, and this is like where we're in the unknown, yeah, and that's where you are at the minute, and it can bring up a lot of our insecurities and a lot of our fears. But understand that the moon will illuminate your path, okay? The path will become clear. It might not be really straightforward either. The moon sometimes can be a bit more mysterious and a bit more tricky, and it's our intuition that will guide us. But you will get there. And again, the moon is about your intuition, so it's doubling down on that. It's the intuition that will guide you. And focusing your energies, like you say, on journaling, manifestation, meditation, whatever, you know, or all of the above, this will help you tap in and tune into your intuition even more. Two major arcana here. So this is Spirit acknowledging this is a big deal. This is important. But you are going to get the outcome that you hope for. So hold on to that, Nina. Hold that belief. Do your practices. And understand that the journey might not be straightforward, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to get to where you want to go. It just might be a bit more of, you know, a zigzag path than a straight path. Is there anyone else here who can help you? I'm just wondering, this is someone else's energy that has also appeared. It can be, though, just about not letting your insecurities get the better of you, the Moon card as well, because if things are not panning out how we hoped, sometimes our fears and our insecurities can really mess with our head. So try to get on top of that as well. Lean on people, talk to people, allies who can help reassure you, who can help you in a practical way. You know, lean on your allies, on your resources, you know, services if you have them, whatever. You know, try to find people that can help you with this as well. Okay, I'll leave it there. Oh, your oldest son keeps blocking this idea. We can look at that next time, maybe, if you want to join us again, Nina. Please do. I go live Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. But I'm going to end the live there, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. For those that brought your questions, I hope the messages that you received brought you some clarity, peace, and some inspiration for the days ahead. Remember to take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and always trust your own inner guidance. And I'll be back for our next live on Monday, so keep an eye out on the community tab for the schedule. And the reading bookings list always opens there too as well, so watch out for that. But sending you love and light. Take care, and I'll see you soon.